Oh, have you missed me? Hello, everybody. This is CM Kozeman with the special fan gift extravaganza. We're going to start off by showcasing some of the gifts I received for the new year and the holiday season in general. And then we are going to move on to, well, what we always do just talk about shit. Hmm. Hope you all had a nice new year. Hello, Dan McAleer. Hello, Boris Chonev. Hello, Cauliflower, who just had the most amazing exchange on Twitter with somebody else. Oh, God, this hair is getting out of control. Ah. Look at me preening myself. Anyways, should I keep growing this or should I cut it? Anyways, God damn it. Hmm. Hello from a cold day. 13 people already. Welcome back, baby, says Carnotaurus 73 Sastre. Bartolomeo of the Boat Fly says Dobry wieczór. What have you for today? Noah Turner has a snowboard hangover. Man, you're lucky to be able to afford such trips. Hayden says hello. Howard says hello. Noah Turner lived off adrenaline for 8 hours yesterday. Was there a storm around where you were too? I know a lot of my American friends and viewers, they're kind of snowed in and stuff. So stay safe. All right, I will grow my hair long. Let me just prepare the night's coffee while you percolate. Come on in. And in a couple of minutes, we'll begin. I actually have like nice stuff to show you tonight. So yeah, that should be fine. That should be cool. 20 people, my God. Looks like we're gonna break some records here tonight. My absolute record was like nearly 70 people back a few streams ago, which is still small, but you throw a party with 70 people, it it is considered a packed party. So yeah. So yeah, let me bring my stuff. Let's get the show on the road, okay? Is it nice stuff? Yeah, I'll be showing you, well, more than my hair. Stay tuned. All right. Should we go with tea or coffee? Oreosaurus says fire. Peter's channels. All right, all right. Somebody's throwing hearts. Oh my God. Blake Richardson has 3 feet of snow on their porch. We're gonna start off the night with this and then move on to harder drugs. Well, everybody wants me to drink tea. Well, if I drink tea, I'll slow down. I need to charge up a bit, go hyper and shit. Wait. All right, you everybody. All right. Thank you for your patience. Let's get this stuff sorted out. Chonev says, drink real Turkish coffee. Oh, preparing that is really hard. It's something beyond my scope of expertise. Yeah. Just wait. Let me get this magic juice cooking. Oh, yes. Hmm. Yep. Hello, YouTube, Joseph Watson. Yes. Greetings from Bulgaria, says Boris Chonev. Hello, my dear friend. 23, 24 people in the house. And now we're just beginning. Let this coffee simmer for a bit. And yeah, I'm just going to get everything ready. All right. All right. So hello to the CM Kozeman. Amazing gift special fan mail extravaganza. Let's see what everybody wrote. Yeah. Blake Richardson has 3 feet of snow on their porch. So, okay, before beginning, let me get something clear about coffee. You see, this coffee, just comes from the great Coffee Crown 201, foaming, milky coffee dust. I know it's made in a chemical factory somewhere. And I absolutely love this shit. One of my many hypotheses about commercial and social life is that this bad boy, it's kind of indistinguishable in taste from like the fancy ass barista coffee you have in like fancy ass coffee places where you pay $10 for a cup of coffee and shit. And oh yeah, so there's one of my pet hunches, and I'm always in like red coffee, team ready-made coffee. In fact, the cheaper the better. And if you've been following my travel videos, I have got this thing where I go to the weird 3-star hotels, 4-star hotels, 2-star hotels, and get the weird coffee they have on there. And it's just the best sauce. Somebody's liking the hair, yes. Makes me look younger, I don't know. Peter's channel misclicked. Pepular says they could never live where it snows. Okay, everybody. Okay, ladies and gents. Let's now get to the night's attraction, what you're all here for. So this channel has really loyal viewers, okay? Last year, like when 2022 was turned into 2023, I put out an announcement for basically fan mail, send me postcards, send me gifts, and there was an address people could send their stuff to. And in the previous year, I received a lot of nice stuff. In fact, if you go further back in the channel, in the deepest lore, you will find them. This year, we had some problems due to basically delivery pickups at the address I had included. And lo and behold, some packages were rejected and returned. Now, I'm happy to announce that actually one of those packages sent in from Korea came to Turkey, was kind of like not received at the address due to a mistake on my end. Returned to Korea and then was mailed again from Korea to Turkey. So this did like almost like a whole round around the planet, okay? And now we're gonna be unboxing this bad boy. Plus, I got some more gifts from more fans. So I am still open for fan mail, but until I sort out where I can get deliveries, you just have to contact me personally, and I will tell you where to mail stuff. It could be at the address where I used to live and stuff like that. We'll sort it out. But if you want to mail me stuff, I will show them on these channels in these live streams. Doesn't need to be New Year's. You can just mail me anything. I mean, you can even mail me underwear and stuff. I don't care. But yeah. So now we're gonna do some unboxing stuff. So without much ado, let's go. This package out comes. I haven't looked. I cut the box open, but I haven't looked at it. And wow, okay, what's this? Some sort of doll or something? Oh, nice. It's one of those mantelope creatures from this one very oddly specific All Tomorrows spin-off where they had the mantelope creatures, like they had all the creatures from All Tomorrows made up as like sort of anime high school girl characters. So this is one of them, and wow, it's very well made. Look at this. Unbelievable. Okay, so what else is there in this package? Like, let's you enjoy this. Huh. Oh, there's a big ass letter. Wow. I'm really humbled. Okay. It says here, I am quite longing for your painting of a Neanderthal anime girl. Okay, well, we could put that in the timeline. Holy shit, there's original art. Look at this. Yes, unbelievable. Wow, it's the whole All Tomorrows anime schoolgirl rendition collection. This really is the greatest community in the internet. Screenshot this, everybody. Look what sort of cool fans I got. Watch out for the YouTube search. Okay, would this get censored? I don't think so. These are safer. This is like a Satyriak, I think. This is a parasite person with the rider. This is one of the titans. Yes, very nice. And look at this is all done by like markers and pen. It's not a print. Handmade art. Unbelievable. Like what did I do to deserve this goodness? What did I do to deserve this goodness? I'm really happy. I'm so happy. Thank you all so much. Wow, man. If she was real. Anyways. And then here's the letter. Merhaba, Mr. C.M. Kozeman. It has been interesting to share fan art of your book, All Tomorrows, which gave me nightmarish shock at first, but is now giving me constant inspiration. Thank you for your creation and mutlu yıllar sana, which means happy New Year. Korean and Turkish, by the way, have some very odd similarities. Also Japanese too. I think they have a Ural Altaic root language. Like I don't know much about Korean, but in Japanese, if you say karasu, which means black water, it's the same as in Turkish. Oh, if only she was real, says Cauliflower. Well, if this community grows enough, we could make this real. I don't know. And like, what are these? I believe these are my fans' original creations. I'm just going to search the box for names because I really want to thank them in person. But in case maybe they want to stay anonymous, let me just inspect this box for a minute. And this is just amazing. Look at this. Like I'm not the keychain carrying type, but I would totally make this a keychain if I was. I'm just gonna place this in my big library of artifacts and stuff where it'll just be like it will ward off the evil spirits. Okay, so my dear loving friend, thank you so much. You are extremely generous. Now, please forgive my utmost ignorance because your name is listed here, but it's in Korean. And I'm very sorry to say I cannot read Korean. I should have known better. But I will find your name. Sounds like John Wick. I will find you and I will thank you in person on all my social media venues. So thank you so much. These are awesome. Like these are the best fan gifts that I could reveal. But yeah, unbelievable. And if you're watching this live now, or if you're watching this later from the reruns, if you are watching this and you want to send me fan art, get in touch with me in person. Go to my website. There's a contact link. Email me, and I'll tell you how you can mail stuff to me. What is everybody talking about? It's not made from clay, this thing. It's from felt, and it's actually a very precise kind of felt stitching because you see the you see the figure follows the it's really high quality felt. That's all I can say. You are the guy that made it, says Noah Turner. It's a Korean fan of mine. We exchanged emails. I'm just like extremely lacking in memory to remember a Latin transliteration of their name, but I'm so happy. I'm just like so happy. But this is not the end of our gift extravaganza because there are more gifts actually. Recently, I received this package from a Turkish fan. Oh, hearts are coming in. Lovely, lovely. So recently, I received this gift from a Turkish fan. They came in like nearly at the same time with the Korean gift. It is Robert M. Sapolsky's A Primate's Memoir. And basically, he's this amazing science writer who spent time in Africa, mostly documenting baboons' lives. And this comes from my dear friend Fahri. And he sent this, he apparently got some of this gift from Mongolia. So here's an actually Mongolian postcards saying Mongolin Saikan Oran, which means Mongolia, my beautiful country. And over here, Fahri has written, Dear Mehmet, that's the M in CM Kozeman, I wish you a happy, serene new year. Here is a postcard from the Karakorum Museum in Mongolia showing the petroglyphs found in that region. Yeah. So this is it, the Karakorum petroglyphs. Well, we got a distinct Ural Altai team. Like we got Korea, Mongolia. We're forming the Turkish Turanian homeland all over again. Polyps Conglomeration says, hello. Aren't you supposed to be chilling out with your girlfriend? Go let her know what an awesome lady she is. Oh, yeah. And this is an amazing book. Well, I mean, thank you. Thank you so much, Fahri. Thank you so much. This is amazing. And I already stamped this with my book stamps. This is my official library stamp. This is the reading stamp. Started reading on, finished reading on. And I will like fill these in when I start reading this book. Just like a very, very high quality book. And it even comes with a bookmark that says ominous. All right, all right. Very well. It's like a genuine book I would like to read too. I am, if you probably know, I'm a collector and reader of memoirs, and wildlife memoirs, like they're rare, like good ones are really rare. But that's not even all, because earlier today, in real life, I met two of my fans from Istanbul, Turkey, and they gave me another gift, bringing it to a grand total of three gifts I am revealing at this fan letter giveaway. Let's look at this. Ew! It's with cats, and it's by Worldwide Hope. Yeah, we were together in person just a few hours ago. So thank you so much. And it says here to Nemo Ramjet, which is the pseudonym I no longer use, but thank you. And it's a drawing of somebody squishing a little fat cat with a goddamn bell on her. This is really amazing, really cute. And speaking of the bell, if you haven't done it already, subscribe to this channel and click the fucking bell icon. Thank you so much, Worldwide Hope. Should I tell them your real name too, or should it stay Worldwide Hope? Let me know and I will. Thank you so much. So, wow, look, all these gifts. I'm a lucky guy. Peter's channel says, very good job, Worldwide Hope. Thank you, Peter says. Yeah, and also when we were hanging out, yeah, people are exchanging good feelings. I really wonder who's going to be the first couple to hook up from my community. I already have some candidates in my mind, but I don't know. And then when we were hanging out in real life with Worldwide Hope, I painted this. I actually found this on the ground near greengrocers, and greengrocers ship fruit in these cardboard. Well, there are these cardboard sheets that overlie the fruit so they don't sully up and stuff. And would you know this type of cardboard is really great for doing watercolors on? So here's a progression of spirits, and it really holds the color well. So yeah, it's my gift to viewers of this channel for All right, that was the gift extravaganza. Let's check some messages, and now we can receive your questions. Actually, no, before the questions, let's let everybody know where they're hailing from. So, where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? Answer. Okay. Just checking our messages and shit. All right. Yeah, Noah Turner's from Pennsylvania. By the way, Noah asked a really nice batch of questions last month, and it was a joy to answer. Boris Chonev is from Bulgaria. Greetings from Charigrad. It's below freezing in Texas today, says Polyps Conglomeration. Stay warm. I think I got an idea of how you will stay warm. Peter's channel is from Sao Paulo, southwestern Brazil. Gavin Tidwell is from Florida, where all the reptiles live. Blake Richardson is from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, USA. That's nice. Boris Chonev is saying XDDDDD. KS is freezing in Minnesota, -9 Celsius. God damn. Stay warm. Yes. And Nick Howard is teasing everybody from sunny California. Enjoying the beach soon. You gotta rub it into our faces, huh? Pepular is from a tide pool in San Diego County. Hayden is having an ice storm in Oregon. Actually, another viewer of this channel was just in correspondence with me earlier, and she was frozen in, she couldn't go anywhere. The power went out. It was awful. So stay safe. Boris Chonev says, is Turkey not warm? Well, warmer than most places, but yeah. Actually, today, I went to this certain district of Istanbul. It was very cold, and I was ostensibly there for a family lunch with my aunts and stuff. But lo and behold, when I was walking there, I saw this huge, abandoned building, which I just had to penetrate and explore. And it was like a wonderland. So I spent nearly an hour there. I filmed a big urbexing video. So that's in the pipeline, but I got to get through some other stuff first. All right. So, yeah, the gist of the story is Turkey is not warm, even though it was very sunny. My face froze off during the urbexing adventure. Oh, by the way, if you're in the cold, be very careful. Your face gets cold and your face muscles kind of get wonky and weird. So whenever you're cold, you should like rub in your cheeks, cheekbones, forehead, where the jaw works. And it's one of the one of the many secrets I have to look this youthful, near 40 years old. Can you believe it? Contrary to popular belief, I am not an adrenochrome drinker. The skin on my hands is so dry, all cracked up, says Boris Chonev. Stay warm, wear gloves. I don't know. It was like -5 Celsius yesterday, says Cauliflower. Nick Howard says it would be great if you could do another deep dive on the spirit art stuff. I could, but we need some more extra angles to look at. I have this huge dreams video that's coming up, and I've been saying this for nearly 2 months, but it's there, it's gonna be there. Boris Chonev says, I've been reading William Reich's Listen Little Man the last 2 days. I haven't read it, but sounds good. Is everyone a book reader? Like, is anyone a habitual book reader in the community? Do you read books, listen to books? Let me know what you last read. And the hearts are coming in. Well, also one of the best gifts that came along with this Korean package is the bubble wrap. And in cold winter days, can you believe there was a time where people were bored, and like legit, when I was a kid, my mom and we used to sit around just popping bubble wrap for a couple of hours in the winter. This is amazing. And we had no smartphones, no nothing. Yeah. Peter's channel has read the Jurassic Park novels. Those are really good. And also Noah Turner has read Sphere by Michael Crichton. Those are nice books. Like, Michael Crichton is a nice author. There was also a bad movie of The Sphere with Sharon Stone in it, but that's passable. KS says, books are lovely. Well, so are you. Thank you. Popular says, I can't read books traditionally because I have a messed up left eye, so I listen to audiobooks nearly exclusively. Well, yeah. And also, even these days, even when you write a book, you're expected to produce an audiobook, so it's kind of mixed up. I love Sphere. Hayden says, Hayden is reading Always Coming Home by Ursula Le Guin. Wow, nice. I have never been able to like wrap my mind around Ursula Le Guin's books. I just need to like get a chink in, but I just never had that opportunity. Squid Lord is reading Le Mort d'Arthur. Nice. Is it a book about Arthurian legend? Noah Turner says, I don't like reading two books at once. Neither do I. Like, even if it's a crap book, I need to finish it from cover to cover, because if you just let go once, you'll never be able to stay loyal to one book again. Blake Richardson is now reading After Man by Dougal Dixon. Follow Hot on the Footsteps of Expedition by Wayne Barlow. Both of them are good books with lots of pictures too. Gavin Tidwell read The Last Theorem by Arthur Clarke and Frederick Paul, but it's boring so far. Yeah, it's one of those Clarkian team ups where he teams up with another author, but usually these are towards the end of Arthur Clarke's career too, and they're not really great. I remember there was one called The Trigger, co-authored by some guy with the last name Cube. That's Kube, and it was about an invention that neutralized explosives. So there was like lots of explosive neutralization, and then some standoff between scientists who, in Clark's universe, are idealistic, and NRA gun laws types. But yeah, Nick Howard is into Warhammer Horus Heresy books. 72 books. Well, I really admire this. Like those sequential series. I know actually Warhammer lore is like quite deep and nice. So I like those things. For real, says Peter's channel. Well, why don't you ask some more questions now? Half an hour in, while Daddy Kozman who has been wearing pants all day while urbexing and driving and having a lunch with his owns and shit, while Daddy Kozman goes and changes from the pants into some more comfortable PJ bottoms. I'll be right back. Yeah. Like my pantaloons? Yes. Oh, bad. Yari, as you age, one of the best pleasures of the life you discover is actually wearing a preheated pair of PJ bottoms. I leave them on the heater and then just wear them before going to bed. Oh, all my bottom chakras are just covered with this velvety heat. And I just washed this today too. So it's straight off the washing machine. Oh, yes. Thank you, KS. My style is great, they say. Boris Chonev says the style is vibe. Cauliflower, I found an actual porpoise skull on a school trip. I remember discussing this with you in real life. I use my heating pad to heat my work clothes in winter. Yes, these are all life hacks. And like, I mean, as you age, you discover that this is a like better sort of pleasure than some orgasms. I don't know. Oh well. Daddy Kozman, says Nick Howard. Yes, son. What do you think about the new phenomenon of people being more into the lore of a series than the actual story? It seems like world building and lore is becoming more popular. Well, I've been saying it. I've been saying it for 10 goddamn years. I mean, look, people like legends for a reason because there's a lore. And traditionally, at least in the last century, fiction has been sold driven by narratives, and you have to have characters and they have to have origins. And I mean, they're like, but those stories are good too. But after a point, some stories you can predict what's going to happen. Did you ever have this thing where you're watching a movie or reading a book and you basically say, oh, okay, I know what's coming around? Because yeah, he's been like that. But like just when in cases when an author takes us in a walk around his imagination and reveals bits of the world, and that can also hint at a story or like at certain things about life, that's actually amazing. And I've been telling it on my channel for like at least a decade. and it's just a part of. Also, it's related to media evolution as well. Like the great social theorist Marshall McLuhan used to say, the medium is the message, and now with the internet you got something called hyperlinked documents. In older times you used to read a book and it was usually sequential. In the internet you can click this text, it takes you to another text, it takes you to another page. It's like a palace of rooms you can build, and this is called basically hypertext in media theory. And the hypertextual layout made possible by the internet makes world building far more easier. You really need to have like there are all these like wikis and books and like even apps that allow you to world build, but you only need like Microsoft Word or a very very primitive HTML editor, and you can just churn out your web pages and the universe. So yeah, and I know this community like has like a higher percentage of world building OG guys and gals. So yes, let's check some messages. Mm-mm-mm. All righty. Toaster Fire says not the primitive HTML skull. Why? I actually my entire website is coded with primitive HTML. It's a more elegant coding style from a more civilized age. You really need nothing more than text and pictures. And the same thing with Warhammer. And I remember also a few years back, I was like greatly into Aliens lore series, where there are these YouTube channels. They talk about the engineers created the aliens. What if the engineers were created by the alphas and whatever. And these were like funny, and they were just a joy to watch. You just couldn't stop watching them. It's like popping bubble wrap. Point of view. Daddy Kozuman is choking you. Anyways. Do you know how to code, says Noah Turner. I just use Adobe Dreamweaver. And I just have like this basic website templates I made in Microsoft Word over a decade ago. And I just copy and recycle them. That's how my entire website is built. And it's pretty solid. I mean, it works on mobile devices. I know like you can go far beyond with coding, but it's good enough for my purposes. A lot of Brandon Sanderson series rely on this huge universe lore he's been building. I need to find out more about. I haven't read it. Peter's channel says CM Kozman, Chad, magnificent. Okay, thank you. I'm really happy to like hang out with all of you again. You have a subreddit that's starting making Rule 34 art of your creatures. Didn't know if you knew that. Look, I look young, but I don't use a smartphone, and I am sorely lacking. I keep tabs on all my shit except for Reddit and Discord. Discord is just like a whole inaccessible universal realm. So like you have to email me or send me a message from Twitter or Instagram and then show me this page. Actually, I mean, now let's not look at it right now on live stream, but Boris Chonev says, you asked us how you are, but how are you? Well, thanks. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Not great, not terrible. No, actually I'm doing cool. Yeah. Look, something about Rule 34. It's fun to look at. And I know I have this like tongue-in-cheek reputation as being like the kinky sci-fi artist or whatever. But when people do like more heartfelt, like this sort of fan art, I like it more than like There's this kind of Rule 34 where it's like extremely graphic and it looks like the perverted stuff from DeviantArt. I appreciate it when people do that, but it's not my favorite way to go. I mean, there's a level to which one should keep it classy, and I'll never judge anybody, but yeah. Henry Oldroyd says OnlyFans when I'm destitute enough, which I'm not. I'm actually doing quite well with creature commissions, and if you want to commission creatures from me, well, let me know. Stargoose Z says opinions on Ryan Reynolds. I mean, he tries to match up to my charm and handsomeness, but the guy can try. Boris Chonev says, man, porn is bad for your soul. I mean, if you're a man, it is. If you're a lady, I don't know. It's a perspective I'm not privy to. But I don't know, if you watch it as a couple to spice things up, maybe it's not that bad. But if you're just sitting around coomering all the time, yeah, I mean, you gotta like, it feels awful after a point. We've all been there. Cauliflower says, wasn't OnlyFans recently banned in Turkey? Yeah, like this summer, the government shut it down. Look, I mean, I don't know. I think it was a very empowering thing for the woman who used it, because otherwise they would be like reduced to maybe worse things. And I never understood, especially this happens in the States, okay? I never understood when like there's this nurse or school teacher or like, I don't know, lab technician or somebody, and they're like, I don't know, using OnlyFans to make money, even just to hang on to life, and then they get discovered and they get fired. And I think it's the most prudish fucking evil act ever. I think it's very empowering for the woman who use it, and there are all these like traditional like red pill asshole guys who are like, oh, only fools. Well, I mean, you're paying for it. You're paying for it. Don't pay. No one's putting a gun in your head and saying like, pay these hot chicks on OnlyFans. You're doing it. Don't complain. It hacks a very basic instinct in the male psyche. I mean, you just deep down inside, a man wants to be giving, like forget about like eroticism and everything. Like deep down inside, what makes a man flourish is like when he gives to a lady and the lady is happy and they say, oh, thank you. Okay, okay. Now you don't need to be on OnlyFans to like be giving to those whom you love. But then this whole mechanism hacks that thing, like, and there's all these guys, and of course for them it's an addiction, and the whole website is like built around like several atavistic addiction loops. But I mean, in Turkish there's a great saying, "Alan mutlu, veren mutlu, sana ne amına koyayım." Yani the who's giving is happy, who's taking is happy. What is it to you, motherfucker? Yeah, so that website and service was blocked in Turkey because several influencers were like becoming really prominent. These like hot ladies were making like around like $60,000, $100,000 per month from all the simps. Because in Turkey, it's like oh well, I mean, there are a lot of guys with lots of money, and they're never gonna be even in like staring distance to a woman like that in real life. So they pay, and then of course, I guess some lawmakers were jealous. They were a little jelly. So yeah, I mean, there are all these like, it's a mild autocracy. What can I say? Peter's channel says, let's go back to funny evolution things. I don't know, like if you noticed, the what I've been saying about OnlyFans is a funny evolution thing. Also, like, let me put something clear, okay? Most of us are guys here. I mean, online and offline, I've known that people I've been friends with, sometimes they're nice looking, and I've heard cases in which like assholes have approached them. Oh, you're so hot, girl. Why don't you do an OnlyFans? You'll make it rich. And like, it's a brave act too. And even virtually, it's a brave thing to do. You're putting yourself out there. You're creating records of compromising material, which maybe like, I mean, which people can save. And then on that platform, women are also vicious against each other too. So it is definitely safer than like being in the streets and like doing actual sex work, which is highly open to exploitation. And then, but still, it's like a lot of risk. And so all these guys who say, "Oh, it's so easy for you girls. You just wear sexy clothes and make money." Oh, okay, go, go open your own private parts. OnlyFans is not just cisgender. Okay, enough about this discussion. Let's change the subject. What else should we talk about? Come on. I bet there are algorithms that detect the word for that website and they're like, okay, you've spoken too much. The book, says Peter's channel. Do you have any poetry you like? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Actually, let's read some nice poetry. How about that? Have a poetry slam. All right, lots of nice questions. I'll bring the poetry book, then we'll go on, okay? Is Snayat coming before GTA 6? I hope so. What's your goal with this channel? I don't know. Okay, I'll answer all of your questions. Ask, ask, ask. I'm bringing out the poetry shit. Hey, hearts are in. Oh, I forgot one book. Why don't you look at these while I best of the poetry stuff? Okay. I'm just gonna bring out one nice thing from Turkey. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about the delay. All right, so poetry time. Okay. Lots of stuff. Wow, I'm really building a community here. Okay, okay. All right, so let's low down about poetry. I have this one poem from this one book, and it's like very touching. Okay, but I actually was meaning to find some Turkish poetry books by Ahmet Rasim, but the library is just so complicated. I couldn't find it in the dark, so we'll just read that from online sources, basically. And okay, let's go. So I am for years I thought poetry was like okay, wishy-washy, but then I started reading the classics in the Oxford and Cambridge sense, and then two authors really struck me. One of them you probably would know is Lord Byron, who was a real eccentric, a real like strange and like adventurous person. He fought against the Ottomans for the Greek cause, pretending or trying to resurrect the Greek Empire, or not the Greek Empire, but he just was like for for many British that in those days Greece was like Ukraine today, and he's just a, he's just much more than that. Of course, he's like an amazing poet, and I mean, let me just read a verse. And vain was each effort to raise and recall the brightness of all to illumine our whole. And vain was the hope to avert our decline, and the fate of my fathers had faded to mine. Unbelievable. Like, look at this. There's a whole book full of stuff. And he's got one very big poetic work called Child Herod, which is amazing. But this is just, you can leaf through this and like ephemeral verses. Okay. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. I'll just find one more juicy bit from Byron and then we will go. With false ambition, what had I to do? Little with love, and least of all with fame, and yet they came unsought, and with me grew, and made me all which they can make a name. And yet this was not the end I did pursue. Surely I once behold a nobler aim, but all is over. I am one the more to baffled millions which have gone before. It's all about the petering out of ambitions. You set out with big ambitions, but life gets in the way. You fail, and you're resigned to being just an ordinary person, which is not that bad. Well, this is just beautiful. I mean, it's like heroin for the veins. There, he has also some like sexy poems, but I can't find them immediately now. I'm just like reading them. Okay, one more, and then we'll call it a day. Ephemeral verses. Okay, this is called, well, he wrote this to another person called Thomas More in 1820. When a man had no freedom to fight for at home, let him combat for that of his neighbors, and let him think of the glories of Greece and Rome, and get knocked on the head for his labors. Well, you would get knocked on the head, right? If you're just so comfortable at home, you got to go and fight for someone else. It's what you call a terrorist these days. I mean, ISIS could make the same argument. To do good to mankind is the chivalrous plan, and is always as nobly requited than battle for freedom whenever you can. And if not shot or hanged, you'll get knighted. This is a more like ironic, cynical phrase. Anyways, Lord Byron, if you don't have this book at home, what are you even doing? You, and this is like selected poetry of Lord Byron. People don't read these books. And like secondhand, you can find them for like $1 or some shit. So get this. But then Lord Byron has this like even more heavy metal contemporary who is James Elroy Flecker. He's like really Iron Maiden. Like if this guy was Metallica, this is Iron Maiden. And I got a favorite actually. War Song of the Saracens. Where can I find this now? 28. This is like the poem itself is one of my favorites. So this is about the first decades of the 7th century, and the Arab Caliphate is in full assault mode, and they've almost controlled all of the Mediterranean. And this is a bit more like fantastical look at these things, but look how it goes. We are they who come faster than fate. We are they who ride early or late. We storm at your ivory gate. Pale kings of sunset beware. Not on silk, nor in sammet we lie, not in curtained solemnity die, among women who chatter and cry, and children who mumble a prayer. But we sleep by the ropes of the camp, and we rise with a shout, and we tramp, with the sun or the moon for a lamp. How cool! With the sun or moon for a lamp. How awesome, huh? And the spray of the wind in our hair. From the lands where the elephants are to the forts of Meru and Balgar. I don't know if these are real places. Our steel we have brought, and our star to shine on the ruins of Rome. The ruins of Rome. Rome. Get fucked, 100. We have marched from Indus to Spain, and by God we will go there again. We have stood on the shore of the plain where waters of destiny boom. A mart of destruction we made at Jalula, where men were afraid. For death was a difficult trade, and the sword was a broker of doom. Equating trade with brokerage? Man, man, man. And the spear was a desert physician who cured not a few of ambition. So being cured of ambition is just short for getting fucked, getting killed. And the physician is despair. And drave not a few to perdition with medicine bitter and strong. And the shield was a grief to the fool, and as bright as a desolate pool, and as straight as the rock of Istanbul, when their cavalry thundered along. For the coward was drowned with the brave, when our battle sheared up like a wave. And the dead, the desert we gave, and the glory of God in our song. Off, bear, off. And this is full of stuff like that. James Elroy Flecker. He's an Orientalist poet, but it's just off. I mean, look, I'm agnostic, but reading this, oh man. I like how everyone is quiet. Shh, we are listening to Shash. Sorry. Fleck is really interesting. His poem, The Golden Journey to Samarkand, is really beautiful. Don't be. Okay. Nick Howard mentions an amazing, amazing saint, really, and it's Hildegard of Bingen, a 10th century Catholic saint and mystic. I was just listening to her songs this morning. Yes, and many of them were written during ecstatic trance. Yeah, go look at Google Hildegard von Bingen music. It's great for inspiration and cutting and shit. Yes. I will answer everybody's questions. There's a lot of questions, but let's get through the poetry now, okay? Then one of my favorites is Edward Lear. This guy might legit be counted as a precursor of speculative evolution. And he is best known for his silly poems. They're called limericks. He invented the term. Look at this. There was an old man with an owl who continued to bother and howl. He sate on a rail and imbibed a bitter ale. which refreshed that old man and his owl, and they're being refreshed and imbibed. Look at them. He made the drawings too. He's actually a great landscape artist too. So Edward Lear, you have to look at this. And some of his stuff is like in retrospect a bit borderline scary. There was one about a person from Crete, which is one of my ancestral fatherlands. So let's look at that. Oh, where's the Crete? I may not be able to find. Oh, okay. There's one about Rhodos, which is close enough for government work. There was an old person of Rhodes who strongly objected to toads. He paid several cousins to catch them by the dozens. That futile old person of Rhodes. Look at them. The cousins are catching the toads, and this is the futile guy. Apparently, the toads got the better of him at the end. Ironic. He could stop the toads from escaping, but not from killing him. Yes. Very Dr. Seussian says Hilmi Ira. Well, actually, Dr. Seuss is Lyrian. He came later. There are guides to writing in limericks. And actually, if you use ChatGPT and give them like, this is objectionable, of course, but if you give ChatGPT a raw poem and you tell them, write this as a limerick, it does a great job. But write it with your hands. Now, these were the cool poems in the English language that I had to share with you. Then there's some in the Turkish language, which are just amazing. One of them is actually very niche, but it always makes me cry. It's by this eccentric guy, Ronnie Margiles, who's a Turkish Jew and a poet and a Marxist and like a complicated character in jail. This book is about his memoirs. It's My Family and Other Jews, basically sort of a minority account from mid-century Istanbul. And he's not very good with rhyme. His poems don't sound beautiful, but there's one that really like boom, like hits and destroys you. And content warning, if you lost a close relative, maybe you shouldn't listen to this because it's very sad. Let me find it. Like when I read this, I just cried myself. Let me find that poem. This is a book of his memoirs, and interspersed there are some poems. I'm just trying to pin down that particular poem. Nick Howard says William Blake is amazing. Yes, I have to read some Blake later on for another session. Let's look at this thing by Ronnie Margiles. Okay, this is that poem. It's called the Pierre at Moda, which is a like, so in Istanbul there's a kind of like uplifted, gentrified neighborhood, usually inhabited in historic times by non-Muslims, which is called Moda, and there's a Pierre in Moda. And I'll just paraphrase it because he's still a bit verbose, but I'll just read it in Turkish and translate. Koço'da rakı içiyoruz bir akşam, yalvaran bir el gibi önümüzde karanlığa dalmış moda koyu. My family and I having rakı, which is an aniseed drink, at the Koço restaurant, which is a famous celebrated restaurant, one night with my father, and the bay of Moda opens towards the sky like a begging hand, because it's if you've been there you see it, it's like a picture. Fazla kaçırmış olsam gerek içkiyi, babam oturuyor birden bir yanımda, karşımda dedem. I must have drunk too much. My father is next to me, and in front of me my grandfather. Now, after a few verses, kaldırdığımda kafamı ne babam var yanımda ne dedem. Sıkılmış bir yumruk gibi moda iskelesi. Kapanmış çalışmıyor artık çoktan. Ne bir vapur var giden yıllardır ne giden. So he goes into some thoughts and he sits his head down, lifts it up. Neither his father is there nor his grandfather. They died. And the bay, which was like a begging open hand, is now closed, and the pier has been locked down too. And this is it actually. So that bay, it had a pier in a tiny island. So imagine like a bay in front of the restaurant. Let me just draw that for you. Huh? So imagine, well, this is the restaurant. Okay, there's a pier here. There's a tiny island, and actually, this used to be like a pier for boats and stuff, and the boats would take you all the way to other parts of the city. Istanbul used to be a maritime city, and so they are sitting here, and now a few decades ago this pier was like closed down, no boats more there anymore. So this guy is remembering the times when this place was active. The city was more of a Mediterranean maritime city. His father and his grandfather were alive, and he just dives into his dreams. He gets up, they're dead. Time flies. Very, very sad. What do you think about this last one? I don't know. It always like gets me. Oh, yeah. We've been going for an hour. Okay. Donkey Kong Max says the toads in the limerick were a metaphor for death. Maybe. Nick Howard says, I hear you talk about your thoughts on the history of Istanbul. Have you ever gotten to visit Ayasofya or some pre-Ottoman parts of the city? Yes. I mean, I've been to Ayasofya numerous times, both before and after its conversion back to a mosque. And I had a lot of fights about this with basically my more secular friends. Ayasofya was a temple, became a church, then became a mosque, then was a museum, then became a mosque again, like 5 years ago. Now, they didn't really do a legacy job at it, but in my city, I would prefer the oldest structure, which is over 1,000 years old, okay? I would prefer it to be a working worship site where people go there to believe and worship. I don't share that religion. I've never prayed in a Muslim mosque. I don't have any of that, but still, it's better off that place with a millennium of history. It's better off that place being a site of worship. Now we can talk about the quality of the conversion or like the integrity of the worshippers, okay, but it's better as a holy site, in my opinion. Blake Richardson says, during the span of this stream, I have made 2 alien creatures for the planet Sea Fluke. Great. What are they like? All right. And I think there's, going back to Istanbul's history, there's no difference between Istanbul's pre-Muslim past, its great Ottoman legacy. And I, for the life of me, I don't fucking understand. Like all these modern Turkish people, they just spurn at the Ottomans. And maybe you don't like the government who's doing it. Okay, we can talk about that, agree about that. But it's a legacy. You don't need to share it to be proud of it. And then also, there's no disconnect between that and the Turkey and the city's modern incarnation either. So, all these stories from non-Muslims living in Istanbul, and then even like things like vintage shopping malls in the 1990s and stuff, they're all part of a really great human history. And this also includes waves of immigration. So in my lifetime, Istanbul saw 2 waves of immigration. One from in the 1990s from the Anatolian hinterland into the city and into the slums, and then after the Syrian war, one more. It's very chaotic and more than a little ugly, but that's how stories are written. All right. Have you ever seen Simon Stagg's work? Says Noah Turner. I have. I really liked it when it first came out. But looking back at it, it's still like technically perfect, really nice, but it's kind of become a trope. And I think he had a Netflix series, right? That was like a really non-event, like a bunch of people getting connected to computers in a field, and it's all Scandinavian and bleak and shit. And then in some of Simon Stellenag's work, there are also dinosaurs and strange creatures. I like them. I like those more than the cyber connection pictures. He's a great artist, but maybe he got tangled up in the bolas of his own legacy. Because you see those retro futuristic things with like a broken down 80s car and like some people lying in a field with cables in their heads, and oh, okay. Boris Chonev says Miyazaki is very nice, and I have seen The Boy and the Heron. I think I talked about this in an earlier stream. It's also, I think, getting a Golden Globe and Oscar, long overdue. I think you could like everybody working in Hollywood today combined, you give them $1 trillion of budget, and then also you say, you prepare me something human or I will kill your children. Even with all the opportunities and like desperate conditions, everybody working in Hollywood collectively in total could not produce one drop of humanity that exists in even in Miyazaki's worst work. So I'll leave that, just check that out there. Okay, let's check some messages. Oh, Blake Richardson has sent me messages. Maybe his creatures, but you need to send them to me on Instagram one by one, because I'm accessing this shit from a laptop, and I can't see when you send two pictures simultaneously. Okay, Blake is sending them now. Wow, those are really great creatures. One of them looks like a Darwin 4 creature with extendable mouth parts and like a mace for a tail. Really nice stuff. If you share these on Twitter, I will promote them. Peter's channel says the Napoleon film was mostly good and accurate. What are you on, man? What are you on? It was like the least accurate film I've ever seen. Peter's channel says Istanbul is the same as Constantinople. Yes, that's the same city. Nick Howard says, personally, I believe that Hagia Sophia should be an Orthodox church again. It just has that significance to Eastern Christians. Well, you would be surprised to know that there's an Orthodox church like right next to the Hagia Sophia. It's called, and it's the biggest surviving Byzantine church, oldest surviving Byzantine church in Istanbul. It was built in the year 324 That old, older than the Hagia Sophia. Okay, and then it was rebuilt by Justinian the Great. So it's that sort of a legacy. Now, for most of their reign, the Ottomans did not change the structure to a mosque. And at least during the first years when Istanbul was taken by the Turks, it was a free site of worship for, I think, the members of Byzantine nobility who were still in Istanbul, either maybe as ransom or maybe they just stayed there. I don't know. So there is that. I don't know. Cauliflower says, I've prayed in the Hagia Sophia multiple times. I mean, it's nice to be in that place. Just, I mean, everywhere in the modern age is a purpose. Their buildings are banks. You go there to trade. I don't know. But there has to be these structures that don't serve a practical purpose, but they're just like great and monumental. So yeah. Oh, Donkey Kong Max says, I drew a picture of a djinn riding an Euromastix lizard. Nice. Billy Harrington says, hello, Mr. Kozman. Hello, my friend. Hyong Kim says, hi, hello. Cauliflower says, Uromastics are cool. I'd love to have one as a pet. If only they were legal in Turkey. Well, there's a lot of gray area. As long as you don't share pictures of it online. But if you buy an illegal pet, it usually means that 10 animals like that had to die for those people to get that, because like the pet trade is really, really awful. Oh, Absent Fish says, it's the god of Hollywood again. You have to produce a movie about a kaiju. Which monster would you choose and who will be the director? I would really choose Gamera, the flying turtle one with the twin rocket exhausts coming out of its ass. And the director, I would choose the guy who directed, or maybe it's a lady, I don't know, the director of Uncut Gems. It's a nice movie. It's the movie that saved Adam Sandler's career. Fernando Cateca X says, do you like Monster Hunter creatures? I don't know as much about Monster Hunter as I should be, but they're all like a bit buff and like there's a specific Monster Hunter look, right? And it's like they're nice, they're cool. Let's look at some Monster Hunter creatures. They're all like very well designed monsters. They all got this like, there's a certain style, like certain features are like, proportions are exaggerated. So it's, all I can say is a great job. Too bad it's like, it's one of those things that my mind could never get a chink in. So like, because it's a game. I'm not as much a gamer as maybe I should have been, but I don't know. Nick Howard says, have you seen Shin Godzilla? Yes, I've seen it. It's directed by Hideki Anno, who's the director of the Evangelion series. It's just unbelievable. A great film. Maybe still to this day the best Godzilla film. At the end of Shin Godzilla, it goes through several shapes. The first creature is like a silly newt-like thing with eyes that don't focus. Then it becomes Godzilla as we know it. At the end of the film, Shin Godzilla has a tail, and from the tail you start to have these like figures crawling out, and they look like humanoid creatures attached to this tail. They're still small compared to Godzilla, but still each one is as tall as a bus or something. And I think there was a plan to like Godzilla to turn into a humanoid creature or a soul thing, but it was dropped. Maybe it was like too outre to be integrated to the rest of Godzilla lore. And then yes, there's also another film, Godzilla Minus One. It still hasn't arrived at theaters where I live, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Really looking forward to seeing it. Cauliflower mentions there are parrots in Istanbul. Yes, we have Alexandrine and ring-necked parakeets. Is it true that these are descended from parrots that escaped from the illegal pet trade? This has been spoken about. So these are these green parrots that look exotic, and they've been in the city since as long as I've lived. And there's an urban legend saying they're all descendants from a pet shop that somehow like got broken into or whatever. But I don't buy this shit. I think they naturally occur, and birds fly, move everywhere. You got the same parrots in Spain too, and you got also all these anal retentive, ecological, holistic types who say, "Oh, they're not part of the landscape; they should be eliminated." But why the fuck? I mean, come on. Animals migrate just like people do. And unless you're in a very specific, like South Pacific island or something, it's just absurd to consider invasive animals in the context of a Eurasian urban environment. Plus, there are also Byzantine era paintings and plates and stuff that depict the same parrots. I think they naturally occur in this part of the world. Dying. Nick Howard says the Varangian Guard, yeah, they're like the elite Vikings who were bodyguards of the Byzantine emperor. And in Hagia Sophia, there's a graffiti of them. In North America, there are starlings. Yes, also that's a more relevant case. There was a society to preserve Shakespeare's works with birds in the States. And they basically introduced every bird mentioned in Shakespeare's works to the New World. And now, thanks to them, there are all these starlings roaming in the States and in the New World. Somebody's sending me 100, 100, 100, 100. Thank you. Okay, now I think I can go. I can have some tea now. So let's wrap it up about history and poems. And as I make my tea, please ask me any further questions. Also, if you're just a newcomer to the stream, tell me where you're from. Let me check some messages before putting my tea on. Mohamed Kodia says, Daddy Cosmo looking fresh. Thanks, my friend. What tea classic? In San Diego and LA, there are parrots that did in fact escape pet shops, and now they act as alarm clocks for thousands of people. Cool. Birds fly. Let them live. In these are like gigantic cities. Who's the invader here? Millions upon millions of people and cars and millions of cubic feet of concrete, or some parrot boys? Okay, where are you from? What you doing? How'd you spend the New Year's? Let's get the conversation going. I'm gonna make some tea. don't you look at these when I'm gone, huh? Be right back. That's me, if you even. This is me, by the way, if you even care. Oh. Feast your eyes on this. I'm just gonna pee and I'll be right back. Oh. You like this? Then it's progeny. Yeah, okay, makes sense. If you want to buy stuff like this, just write to me. You can pay through Patreon or bank transfers and shit. Just write to me. I mean, something like this goes for $300. This goes for like 150 and stuff. Not cheap, but it's by the creator of all tomorrows, and they're gonna appreciate in value. Well, I'm an accomplished painter, surreal painter. I was just saying that's me if you even care. And KS says we don't care. Feisty. I'll put the fear of God in you. It's the raw chicken god and its progeny. Worldwide Hope says watching you paint was eye opening. I should also let myself free with watercolors and get back to my old passion. Yes, thank you. Actually, this thing was painted with the commenter Worldwide Hope present. And I just have a charcoal stick. I just do the shapes. And then with watercolor, it's all about rhythm. This is like music. So there's the rhythm of the forms. There's the rhythm of negative space. If you look at this, the blank space here, it's actually like there's a proportion between every form. And you just try to make it look charming and harmonious. So, yes. Cauliflower says, can you play any instrument, sir? Unfortunately, no. No, not at all. I can whistle very well, and I've whistled for many occasions in these streams and beyond, but no. Okay, so what 21 of you? What should we talk about? Last time round, you all liked the relationship advice. So if you want to ask me, not just with like girlfriends or boyfriends, but maybe like human relations, family stuff, I'll be happy to share what I know with you. You're quite a talented singer too. Thank you. But it's one thing to sing songs you already heard somewhere else. That's a different thing. And it's another thing to be like a real musician who can like write songs, like I can sing David Bowie or Limp Bizkit songs really well, but only Fred Durst and David Bowie could write those songs. And that's not my skill set exactly. I mean, I got this banger. Are you a chunky or an imbecile? I know you are both chunky imbecile. I sing that song to chunky cats in the street when I'm petting them. 13.82 billion years ago, I was able to play the trumpet. My brother in Christ, which trumpet was that? The trump of apocalypse? It's so far back, it could be in the future. 13 billion. Is the universe even 13 billion years old? KS says the chunky imbecile cat song was really nice. All right, thank you. And now it's tea time. The coffee made me hyper an hour and 35 minutes ago. Now I'm slowly on the ease down spiral. Oh, I'm tired in a cool way. Nobody's asking questions. You're all tired too. Nick Howard says you should do some spirit art based on Gnosticism. So Gnosticism is basically, it's a very complicated belief. I don't think anybody really knows what it actually entails, but there are these spirits called archons. I've been asked to make tarot decks and arts related to Gnosticism, or even like a rehash of William Blake's work, which I don't know why I would ever like treat a master's work like that. It's an interesting possibility, but when I do my own surreal paintings, I don't think. I just do things. And then if they look like archons or gnostic shit or whatever, I would be happy. But if I try to like inject too much meaning into these guys, they become kitsch. And I just want them to be my things. I just want them to be things I created on cafe tables or like one morning after breakfast. And obviously, there are things from my life filtering down into this. I mean, some of them some of them you can't. Obviously, there are those factors filtering in. But if you reveal the secret, you destroy it. And if someone paid me great sums of money to have like a rendition of Abraxas or Gnostic spirits, okay. But I'm just going to do my thing on my time. Blake Richardson is on a roll. He's almost done with a new creature. Nick Howard says, I struggle a lot with starting. Would you talk about your advice on your artistic process? Well, I've commented about this before. If you work with traditional media, especially when writing, it's easier. Because on a computer, you type, you look shit up, you get distracted. Just as the great American philosopher Eminem says, here's a pencil. Well, this is a pen, but you get the idea. Go home, write something, make it suspenseful. Here, pen, paper. Don't be afraid to fail, is all I'll say. When you live in a world country that's not in the Western world, if you open the tap for water, it usually runs muddy for a few minutes, then it clears up. So that's the thing with creativity. First things you do will inevitably be a bit bad, but you have to do those so it gets better. Just do it. Maybe if you're struggling with starting, create an environment in which there are no digital distractions. I mean, it's very easy, man. I'll show you. Here's a piece of paper. Here's my drawing process, actually. You just draw things. I mean, obviously, all these things come from your memory and things you've been interested in and stuff like that. So, this is my surreal art process, okay? When I'm drawing Snayad or science fiction art, it's similar, but the vocabulary I use is a bit more structured and it comes from, well, my knowledge of anatomy and evolution. But in these cases, it's just, I'm not even like thinking about forms, I'm just making lines. You see? So you have to just bullshit a lot and have fun. And the more you have fun, don't show the first 10 things you make. Don't show them to anyone. After number 11, you can maybe slowly start sharing them. And I'm talking about surreal art here, but when you're doing surreal art, don't make them be things. This is not the crocodile demon of Cacotatrix or something like this. This is just your drawing at this specific time. There are slightly different rules, obviously, for if you're into speculative evolution and stuff, but the rules of the game are mostly the same. You just make things. And you just have fun. As the great Turkish leader Kemal Atatürk said, Hiç durmamak üzere yola çıkanlar asla yorulmazlar. Which means if you set out never to stop, you never get tired. And it's so fucking true. So I'm just going to be talking about surreal art now, but the things you create with surreal art, they're not, as far as I do this, okay? Other people may have other things. They're not spirits, they're not creatures, they're not in a story or a lore. It's just this piece of paper at this time of the world. So I say, okay, live stream art 15th January 2024. And then I just sign here. You're basically creating, I'll be right back. You're basically creating a document that's a record of that time. This is what art is in the most art history sense. These are my cool stamps, by the way. Stamped. Ah, there it is. This is not the crocodile god. It's not some demon or an angel. It's just a record of this art. Now it's been dated. Now, I keep telling this. Look, always date. And if you have titles, always entitle. Always do this with your paintings, okay? I have these custom stamps. I got a name stamp. I got a insignia stamp, and I always date it. I also always hand sign it with the wet signature. Kojira says, good night. Hello, dostum. So this was that. If you want to name them, you name them. But so this is a document now, you see? Like, this is also a document. This is also a document. A big canvas work is also a document. As an artist, it's a part of your work. You got to put your name on it. Just need to encapsulate the frame of the day. And then years later, it's going to be solidified, coagulated in a larger body of the work you're creating. It's just a little guy, says Cauliflower. What media did you use to create All Tomorrows? Water-soluble pencils and watercolors, and a lot of Photoshop. I will be beginning piano lessons, tomorrow, says Boris Chonev. Congratulations. My good friend Kojira says, good night. He just had a really cool video about Megalodon on his channel. And I think the rest of his life, he will always be fighting a side quest against these Turkish Megalodon believers. Axe Jack Film says, let's freaking go. If you were to make your own kaiju movie series to rival Gamera and Godzilla, how would you go around doing it? It would be set in a hollow earth. I have actually, in this channel, I have a very old video about I think it's a King Kong review or a Godzilla review. I don't remember, but it has answers to that question. I think it's a Skull Island King Kong review. Worldwide Hope says, this is very based. She says, my teacher always said that artists should not think about the meaning behind their paintings too much. It's the art historian's job. Very based. So based, I'm going to launch fireworks for this shit. Fuck yeah. Stop making sense. How does that work? Huh. Ah. Oh, look at this shit. Nice. Let's check some more messages. This was a great night, everybody. Also, if you want to be an artist, learn traditional media, learn watercolors, learn oils, acrylics. Really, I mean, in this day and age, also learn digital media too, but traditional media is going to set you apart in the future, and it's going to like be the difference between, let's actually, I haven't dated this, so let's date and sign this too. So your knowledge of traditional media is going to allow you to create physical artifacts like these things, which as an artist in the future, hopefully you can sell for money, or which will represent some value that pertains to your life. So don't forget. And also, I don't do this with every painting, but with this one I'll do it. I also stamp the painting itself. KS says time flew by with Daddy Cosman. I just do that to you, don't I? God damn. What time is it in your part of the world, everybody? Twelve a.m. Oh, you got the half of day, the full day ahead of you. Fernanda Katakaik says, what's your opinion about the sword and sorcery genre? I don't know. I'm not a huge fan, to be honest. Not even that much of Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones. KS says it's nearly 4 p.m. What the fuck was that? Pepular says nearly 2. Blake Richardson 5. Oreosaurus 8 in the morning. Benny says 11 p.m. Ah, cool. 3:51 p.m. Cool. Bora Yildiz says 1 a.m. Well, you're in the same place as I am. How many Turkish people online? Let's hear it up. Local friends, fellow Turks. One day I dream that this part of the world will be ruled by an elite who converses in English, like this one. And also, they have the interests of this part of the world in their mind. So it will be like the Ottoman emperors speaking Serbian and Persian, but it will be a group of people who are understanding of their land, who love their country and culture, even if they don't uphold it themselves. And their reference of good deeds or acts or work is on par with the world. Oh, Darya Yavuz is here. Hello. Worldwide Hope is here. Hello. Cauliflower. Hello. Boris Chanev says, that's insane. 16 million people in one city. Yeah, it's like fucking mega Tokyo here. It's actually too much. It should be split. So there are lots of urban renewal projects, but they're tearing down buildings and building new ones. But they're not giving any permits for higher stories. Instead, the city is spreading outwards. But in fact, what it should be is, unless your house is like a legacy history house, you should be able to build like 50 floors or whatever. It should be like Singapore, vertical. Come on. Except for like certain historic areas where there's historic buildings with 3 or 4 floors, okay. But there should be high rises everywhere and they should be affordable. 16 million. When I think about it, it makes my head hurt. So many lives, hopes, and individuals and dreams. Most hope for the same thing. That's why you get lots of crowds. And in some days, it's actually like, not to me, but some people, it's disturbing. Oh, it's too crowded. Don't want to go out there. The older generation suffers from this, maybe rightfully so. Oh, it's too crowded. You can't go out anywhere. People are touching you. Okay. Cauliflower says half of people are NPCs. It does feel that way in every world city. Asian style megacity in the Mediterranean, says Popular. True, you'd be surprised at how much like Japan or Hong Kong or the Kowloon walled city, some parts of Istanbul or Turkey in general looks like. It's just like a dirtier, filthier, pornier version of Japanese cities. They all hope for one thing, sex. True, true. If you don't have that hope, you're dead. KS says death. KS is dropping the spiciest comments. Thank you. Nearly 2 hours, everybody. Imagine a scenario where ants can look at us like eldritch entities and can summon us anytime. Yeah, let's summon Dave. He's gonna come over. Blade Runner 3 in Istanbul. I kid you not, I've always told this to people. Istanbul is the Blade Runner city. Go to my website, cmkozman.com, go to the photographs tab, and look at the pictures there. There are like some weird scenes and snapshots from Istanbul. I'd love to be summoned by an ant, says Cauliflower. What would they have to do to summon you? Does anyone want this? If you want this, write to me. Maybe we can do a. I normally sell these, but maybe we can do an art exchange. You mail me something, I'll mail you this. How about that? Yeah. Boris Chonev says, well, I'm going to go. Good night, all. Well, good night, my friend. Thanks for being part of our stream. And I really hope to visit Bulgaria one day. I think you're in Sofia, but yeah, lovely country. I would really like to see more of it. I want to create a dystopic sci-fi city based on Istanbul. If you want to create a city that's dystopic and sci-fi, you're not adding anything onto Istanbul as it stands. It is dystopic and sci-fi. I'm wanting, whenever you're in a public square, there are these like 5 or 10 women with tape recorders, each recording blaring, oh, help our son, he has this disease, help our daughter, she has this disease. They're all lying, and they're like cyber begging for, they're not even begging themselves, they're just standing in front of the speaker as it plays and loops a pre-recorded message. What's more sci-fi and dystopian than that? Blake Richardson says, I created a book cover for my speculative project. Congratulations. KS says, Clockham. Okay. In Kocaeli, they're not even standing with the speakers, so it's postmodern. They're just some speakers playing some pre-recorded message about some fake ass disease. It's the easiest form of full text there is. I mean, it's that playing the lottery and believing someone on OnlyFans will love you. Idiot tax in those numbers. And I can't blame anyone who pays for that. I mean, you gave it, you earned it. This is ready for pickup. Write to me, email me. We can do an art exchange. But it has to be an original hand-drawn artwork. No printouts, please. All right, nearly 2 hours. Time flies, man. Such a great night. And still 20 people watching. Any last questions before we call it a night? Evil Snip says, so will you trade that art for another traditional piece? Yes, but this particular art only. This Mehmet live stream. Yeah, you're gonna get this if you send me a traditional artwork. Get in touch with me, email me. And sorry, first come, first serve. Is that black tea you're drinking? He says. It's Doge tea. I picked it up from, I don't know, my office. Worldwide Hope says, what about me? I'm craving for more Cosman works. Well, buy me a coffee in real life and I will draw. You're in the same city, right? Has anyone here been bitten by a snake or knows anybody who has been bitten by a snake? Okay. Fernando Kotekoik says, I gotta go. Pepulur says, my mom was bitten. Which sort of snakes? KS has been bitten by a snake. Please let me know. Which sort? Garter snakes. Yeah, those are harmless. I think their bite hurts their teeth more than it hurts you. Hmm. Oh, I'm tired in a very nice way. KS has been bitten by a banana ball python, which was an accident. Did it break your skin? Oh, yes. Okay. Well, I'm sorry you had that experience, but All right, everybody. A few of you have been bitten by snakes, and it was a nice night. My brain's getting a little fogged up, but I really enjoyed talking all these poems, all these amazing gifts by people from Korea, from Mongolia, from Istanbul. Now, slowly, it's time to say good night. It's been a great stream. Any last questions? Any last words? Let's take them. You got like 1 minute or 2 minutes to ask, like any last comments. And then once again, look, if you enjoyed your time with me now, please consider supporting me on buymeacoffee.com too. Just imagine you're hanging out with me in real life. Just support me. Every penny is really welcome. Worldwide Hope got inspired. Gonna draw something traditional. Great. If you also want to send me fan mail or fan art for me to like reveal on the stream later, also get in touch with me. KS says goodbye. All right. Cauliflower says, I've been on art block for 6 months. I can't take it anymore. Change your medium. Try something brand new. It will help. All right, everybody. Acrylic paints are really weird, but they're really fun when you get used to them, says Evil Snips. Yeah. If you water them really a lot, they almost work like watercolors. Yet at the end of the day, it's just plastic, yeah. Blake Richardson says they're going to make infinity more creatures. That's the spirit. As the saying goes, set out never to stop and you will never get tired again. Bye-bye, Mr. Cosman, says Peter's channel. Bye-bye. Goodbye, everybody. It's been a great night. Last 10 seconds. If you want to say anything, say it now or remain forever silence. Islam Mutayev says hi. Bye-bye. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, bye. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom!